guys, how's it going? So today's goal is just to get as much done as I possibly can out in the garden. So I've got boxwood trimming to do, a lot of planting to do. In fact, I've got a lot of plants sitting right behind me in the trailer at the moment, but it's been kind of a weird day. Like, it's been on and off really windy. Like right now, I waited till it died down to even start talking. And they're doing a lot of building across the street. They must be at a different stage of the building process. It's a little bit louder. So I thought what I would do is just set up the camera in every new area that I'm working. I'll capture all the work that I do, and in the end, if the weather's nice enough, I'm hoping just to walk you through each project that I did. I think that'll work out the best, and I'll maybe be able to get the most done. But real quick, I'll show you my first trailer load of plants. I don't even know if it's smart to put them out today when it's so blustery. Doesn't look that way right at the moment, but it has been whipping through pretty rough this morning. Anyway, I've got some Truffula Pink Gomphrena, Radiculus coleus, some Whirlwind White Scaevola, Supertunia White, and the White Knight Lobularia. That's what we're going to start with right now. So I hope you guys just kind of sit back and enjoy this montage of projects. Yeah, I don't think there are any, but there's gonna be. We'll check them every day, okay? Yeah. Strawberries. Do you love strawberries?
They're here.
Yeah, little baby one. It's not ready yet, though. Okay, so I kind of lost track of time, as it usually happens when we're out here in the garden. I know you guys can relate. It's about time to start dinner, so I didn't get quite as much done as I had planned. In fact, I still have the Gomphrena in the back of my trailer. I didn't get to that because I ran into a couple of drip issues, but I'm still really happy with the progress, and I want to give you guys a tour. There's the cocktail garden in all its glory and all its weightiness still sitting there. But this is the first bed I planted in, and you guys, I do Radiculus coleus, or marooned was the one before this variety. This is an improved version. This is like one of my favorite things right here, and so I just think some things just don't mess with. If you really like it, just keep planting it the same way. There's no need to change it until you feel tired of it, and I really love how it fills in this space. Like, it really mounds up and provides this huge block of red, and I do like red in leaf color, not so much in bloom color, which is kind of weird because I did put these buried treasure red, no, what are they called? Yeah, buried treasure red strawberries right here because I think Benjamin will love it. He actually saw that I was planting these right here and got super excited, which makes having the red blooms worth it. And then I've got a Audrey White Gomphrena right there, which I grew behind the gazebo last year. And I think it'll be beautiful because we'll have a high level. This will be a shorter level, and then of course the strawberries will trail out. I'm liking it. I really need to get after those boxwoods. Look at how woolly they are. Oh, pretty though, nice and bright. This little corner right here was the next space. I've got a hedge of Munstead lavender here, peachberry ice heucheras, there's ferns and bleeding hearts and delphiniums coming back, and hostas in there. A Japanese maple that just is like weak sauce. I planted it last spring and I do not know what is going on with it, but the top half of it is just, yeah, There's like one really strong branch that leafed out down there, and the rest of it's kind of sad. So I might be replacing that. I was just giving it some time. I might just leave it there for a little while longer. And then I want to put something fun right here, but maybe something with blue leaves. So we'll see. But I put the Bright Lights Purple Osteospermum or African daisies right here, and they're in front of some salmon pink tulips and more of the Audrey White Gomphrena. And then as we pan this way, this was the next area I planted up, which the autumn frost hostas were an afterthought. I did not film that thing because I turned the camera off because I thought I was done, decided to put these in here and forgot to turn the camera back on, but it's just the way it goes. So I've got the Golden Dreams Coleus, which is a little hard to see. All this stuff on the ground comes from this maple tree right here. It's crazy, the kind of stuff it drops. But I like this tree, so I don't mind. But Golden Dreams is one of my faves. You guys know I had it in front of the gazebo last year and it was amazing. So I kind of have like a nice drift of that. And then 5 Radiculus Coleus, the Autumn Frost Hostas around the bird bath. I had hydrangeas here that I gave them did I give them 3 years? I feel like I gave them long enough, and 2 of them were completely dead and 1 of them only had a little bit of life left in it. So it was time for them to go. And then this is a type of impatient that's, I think, coming out next year. This is one to be excited about. Can't remember the name. Crimson. Oh, for crying out loud. I'll look it up and put it on the screen, and I hope I don't kill these. I have horrible luck with impatiens, so I think this is going to be a nice spot because it's pretty shaded, and that's what they want. One other thing that's going to happen, not today, but soon, I have a tater tot arb there, and I had one here. So maybe there's just something about this space. We'll see how these autumn frosts do, but the arborvitae didn't like it over here either. So I'm thinking of just putting this one somewhere else, digging it up, transplanting it, and then putting 2 cone boxwoods at the end instead, because I am dealing with a little bit of a different light issue. This is much more sunny during the day than this right here. Boxwoods can typically handle that better as far as winter interest goes. My face is completely dirty. I forgot to mention that I gridded the drip tubing right by the Radiculus Coleus over there. So that was an area where I still had my drip tube like in circles around plants instead of creating a grid system. That was before we figured that out. So in areas like that, I've just been connecting all the rings together, and it kind of creates a grid without having to pull everything up and rerun it. So I did that over there. I made a couple of connections. The west side is next, and the urns are beautiful. Oh, look at them. Aren't they so pretty? So I got a hold of 4 big boxwoods. They were in 5-gallon cans down at the garden center. And I did their initial trimming. They're not very full. In fact, let me show you what they'll look like here in a year or 2. They'll look a lot more like the ones in our garden space, which these 2 on this end are actually the best. Look at all these veggies. Everything's doing really good. Look at those. So that's what we're going for. These boxwoods have been in these pots, I think, for 3 years, or this is their 3rd season or 4th season. I don't know if they stay out here during the winter, and they do great. So one day, a year or 2 from now, all of these like blank spots that aren't quite filled in, I'm hoping will be filled in. So this will be our centerpiece. I'm thinking, I mean, never say never. There's a chance I could pop them out and put them in the ground somewhere if I'm wanting to do something different. But I really like the idea of having some evergreen interest in here during the winter, even though there's a ton of evergreen interest over here. I surrounded them because this is our moon garden, and I didn't even bother to clean things up. Look at that. Supertunia White. I chose that one over the Vista Snowdrift because you guys know how the Vistas grow, and we grew the Snowdrift in my parents' containers last year. And that plant, if I were to put it in there, it'd probably grow down to about right here. Like it would be a curtain. And I think I'm going to keep these a little bit trimmed because I don't want anything like too much to be shrouding the beauty of the urn. These are the Esplanade urns from Unique Stone that we bought last year, and I adore. These are probably my favorite piece on our entire property. The Whirlwind White Scaevola is next, which is something that I don't think I've actually ever individually planted in a container. I've had it incorporated in hanging baskets before, even though I don't do many hanging baskets. I never really have. So this is a fun one. And then we've got White Knight Lobularia, which you guys know what those do. These are all going to be really wonderful plants for the moon garden. So let's take a little walk down so you can see the blooming delphiniums. Our Glow Girl Spirea is looking really good too, and she's starting to bloom, or is blooming. Look at that. Oh, got a bunch of buds on the new growth up here that will bloom as well, or will open to flowers as well. I'm just so thrilled with how things are coming along over here. Got a lot to plant yet. In fact, you may have seen the video where I went over all of the white blooming annuals that we're going to be putting in this space, along with white pumpkins and watermelon and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a really fun space, I think, to start developing and continue to work on. Let me show you how I hooked these up on drip. So each one of these, we did a video where I showed how I used the angle grinder just like we did on the big pots on the east side fence line. And I ground out a piece, like, I don't know, a section in between the bricks so that the drip tube, which connects to a pipe down here, can come up underneath. There is a hole in the middle of this urn, or the base, and of course the urn because it has a big drainage hole. And it comes out the top right here. You can see that's the water access tube. And then I put a T on it right there, 1/4-inch T coupler, and then I just went around the pot one time with the 1/4-inch tubing that has the emitter holes every 6 inches. I ended up with 7 emitters per container. It's really important if you have them on a drip system and your pots are all the same to make sure you've got the same amount of emitter holes, because then you know that each pot is getting exactly the same amount of water. So if you adjust anything, it's adjusted for all of them. And then I went and worked on some drip behind the gazebo because that was another place that wasn't gridded, and I haven't covered that part with mulch yet. So you can really see what a grid afterthought looks like. Oh, I have a bloom on my sweet pea. Also, we really need to do a tour here soon because, like, there are just, look at this. Look at how gorgeous. Now that crabapple needs some iron, but the iris are beautiful. Okay, this area is our rec area. Although, hold on, Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. Definitely one that everybody should have in their garden. It is so beautiful. You can tell which side has been mulched. Side on the left. But yeah, this bed right here has been, like, we started to mulch it, but we're still working on it. But this was an area where I started with the drip on one corner and then I just went in a circle. Like, woo, all the way to the center, and then ended it somewhere in the center there. So what I did with this part that's still exposed is I came in and I knew that each one of these was an individual line. So I just cut into each one and connected it. Cut, connected it. You see connected there, there, and there. Yeah, and the whole point is just connecting the whole thing back to itself so that the water, it just evens out the flow somehow, or the pressure. And I tested this area right after and it is working wonderfully. I also connected those two right there only because I needed an emitter right there by that delphinium. There wasn't one very close. And those kind of projects aren't really that fun, but it is nice to know once this area is covered with mulch, I just don't need to worry about it. I don't need to worry about the plants, and everything will be much happier. This boxwood was the very last thing I tackled. I trimmed it into a sphere. Looking pretty spherical, don't you think? This is the area Aaron and I are going to tackle sometime this year. Hopefully. I think we got a little bit ahead of ourselves with the new property and then deciding to pull up all the pavers. They were like flagstone kind of things in here, which went to my in-laws' house, so they're going to be able to use them, which is awesome. But we wanted to do something different coming out of the gazebo and then back in here. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We might just mulch the whole dang thing back here and let it be for a while, and that is okay. Look at that. I'm so proud of myself. Sometimes I really butcher these things, but I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, one could fuss with these sorts of things for a long time, but it looks pretty nice. And to think I almost dug this one out one spring. I thought it was dead. It just needed water. So this year with my more shaped evergreens, I've been using hand shears rather than my DeWalt hedge trimmers, because I feel like I have more control, obviously, because I'm not going as fast. I'm doing more calculated cuts with the hedge shears. The hedge trimmers I'm still using for the straight hedges because I just have too many yards of hedge around here to do them all by hand, and it's me doing them. So yeah, that's just something I was going to try this year, and I've really been enjoying it. It makes me kind of slow down a little bit and take my time, and I end up with a better shape in the end. In fact, let me show you one of the straight hedges. I had to stop last night. It was getting too dark, so I'm working on this one, and you can tell this was dead. Like the top was just yellow, dead, crispy, and I was able to cut most of it off, but there's still a little bit. I didn't want to cut too deep in, but you can see where I stopped. I haven't done any like finish work on the edges or anything like that to make them sharp, but the end of it looked even worse than this, but there was just a ton of dead in there. So anyway, projects sometimes just kind of get left for a day or two until I can pick back up and work on them. I'm just doing them here and there in the evenings when Benjamin can be out here with me. He kind of just like runs around and plays and stuff while I work. And that is gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna make dinner, and then I will probably come back out and trim more boxwoods. I don't even know if I'm gonna get them all done this year. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope it was fun to watch and maybe motivating to get out and do something in your garden. And we will see you in the next one. Bye. Also, see? Look at this. Look at the lemony lace. This is a PS. Everybody should have lemony lace in their garden. They are the most beautiful, bright, soft shrub.